Yo, this is Steve Bloom, and you're watching Moana Nui Podcast. We'll be starting soon. Don't go anywhere.
Aloha, everybody. Happy Thursday. Welcome to the Moana Nui Podcast. My name is Moana, our founder and creator. Today, as you can see, we have different faces on the show. Dana is off in Atlanta covering MomoCon with our Atlanta crew. So shout out to Dana, Allen, and Deidre for covering down for us. Tonight, I am joined by my friend, fellow, how can I say this? My friend, a fellow creator and advocate, freedom fighter.
Oh, thank you.
My sis, Cece the Geek.
Thank you. Oh, thank you, sis. That means so much. I'm doing good. I'm doing even better now that I'm in your company.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
You know, we like to be in good company. So, yeah. So thanks again for joining tonight and helping us out here on the podcast. It seems lately that we've just been, trying to juggle so many things. So it's great to have a team and of friends that you can count on to keep the show going.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yes. So tonight our topic is narcissism. This is a tough topic that we've talked about, and it originally started with a conversation that Dana and I had with our host for this our monthly show, Rain. And so tonight, for Mental Health Month, we're gonna dive in a little bit deeper and talk through some of the nuances and the ways that this manifests for us. So I'm gonna bring Rain on and welcome her back to the show.
Yay.
What's up? How are you?
Yay.
I am doing well. Thank you. I want to be a freedom fighter. I'm over here stuck in social justice warrior land, but freedom fighter sounds funner.
That's that, man.
You gotta spit it sometimes, so whatever gets you motivated.
Yeah, you already down for the team. You already know.
Yes,
always. I'm always down for the team, down for the cause.
Oh, yeah.
I will put my boots on and roll my fist up. Now I can't do it with the other hand because of the broken finger quite as well, but I'm working on it. I got the physical therapy going. I got it almost close there. See, it's just a little bit. Just gotta get a little bit closer there.
It's enough for the fist. The spirit gets it, so the
right.
spirit, the ancestors.
Okay, I'm still good with the right one.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
No, I love that idea, that statement, the having the sisterhood of freedom fighters, because it's so important. So important. Mm-hmm. Completely off subject, sorry, but
no, it's all good. Yeah.
Got me all energized, like yes.
Right. like sisterhood of freedom. Yeah. That's a whole lot of conversation we gotta have offline now.
Right.
Started something more on.
But no, yes and no. This conversation is, of course, the continuation of 2 weeks ago. We wanted to do a 2-part kind of series kind of thing for narcissism, because it can touch and hit so different on so many different levels, and so many different people. I know that we touched on how, statistically speaking, how being raised by a narcissist can affect people. We talked about how being a narcissist in your relationships or in my relationships can affect things. We talked a lot about things in general, and I definitely wanted to have at least a 2-part session on this, because it can go pretty deep. So it's so, I guess, important to understand that, yes, you too might be a narcissist, but luckily this song is not about you. So Carly Simon plug there. It's so important to know that the song isn't about you.
That's real.
We were going to start with a question, or am I just going off the top of my head from where we interjected?
Well, I'm kind of going off of you and Moana's lead for real, because I'm like, it's Moana's show, and then you're the expert. So I just, I just get in where I fit in. I have questions, I can ask.
Oh, please ask them. Please ask away.
Yes.
Ask away.
Yes, and definitely for folks who are watching, feel free to comment with your questions in the comment section as well. We'll do our best to get to those. So we, like you said, we talked a lot about narcissism on kind of like an intimate level and what it's like to navigate that, or rather how to not navigate it in some instances. But there are those instances where you may or may not be like kind of forced to deal with it. And how do we navigate those situations, such as dealing with narcissists on the job? We talked about that some. We could tap into that a little bit more, but also dealing with or navigating narcissism in your community. How do you not only like navigate narcissistic personalities in other people, but how do you not internalize whatever culture or something like that, especially in the entertainment? I feel like in the cosplay and the nerd community, we're very adjacent to the entertainment industry. So there's a lot of those same kind of cultural phenomena that occur, but in a different context, if you will. I know that was a lot, but I'm sure that you can pick that apart as you so well do.
So like I was saying, I guess pre-production, one of the things that's really important, I like to make sure I say over and over again, you always have a choice. Okay, there's always choices. We have so many choices, and especially when I'm talking to the sisterhood of the freedom fighters, I like to remind us that you don't have to do anything but be black and die. So whatever other group of people that you may belong to, Pacific Islanders, of course, and so forth, whatever you are, you only have to be that. That is the only thing you have to do. Everything else is up for grabs. Goodness, I knew that was going to happen. Sorry. Dry throat. Everything else is up for grabs. You always have a choice. But in the professional world, or sometimes with our families, sometimes with our significant others, in our relationships, we feel like we don't have a choice but to deal with these things, right? We don't have a choice but to put up with these things. Our employers expect us to be able to get along with everybody. Our loved ones or our sometimes liked ones, or I like you on this particular day ones, they expect us to be able and willing to put up with, tolerate whatever it is that they're going through at all times. And especially when you inject the narcissistic personality behind that, we have to remember, quite simply, a wise, I imagine, Black woman once said, nah. End quote. Nah. We do not have to tolerate that. And especially in this day and age, the best way to manage that is to stick a pin in it immediately. So as soon as you see the narcissistic behaviors coming up, pause, excuse me, sir, ma'am, whatever the situation may be. Right now, I am seeing that your behavior isn't working for me in this moment. And it's really important to be clear, especially if we're talking about loved ones, in this moment. If you talk to, because as I said last time, all children are narcissists. So if you tell your 5-year-old, I'm not going to deal with this, period, the message that you're sending is that this is a permanent situation, right? Because all children, your precious little whatever, that one, yeah, that one's a narcissist too. What the messages that you send right now, wow, why is this happening? The messages that you send right now are telling them or producing for them the foundation upon which they are going to learn how to communicate in the future. Okay. They might not stay narcissists, but it's important for you to convey the proper language on how to move forward. Your loved one narcissist, your coworker narcissist, your random person on the street narcissist, you don't have to deal with them either. Now, it's easier in some of those cases. Random person on the street, they're being a narcissist. They're expecting you to do whatever it is they want to do because the world revolves around them.
Right.
You can just walk away from those. Your coworker, narcissist. Now is not a good time. I have whatever it is that I'm doing. I will get back to you when I'm available. Period. Professionally speaking, putting a narcissist on pause, first of all, it's going to drive them crazy. YouTube will deal with that. Okay. But you put them on pause so that they are forced to acknowledge and deal with the fact that your world does not revolve around them. In this moment. Because that also gives freedom for when you are available to say, okay, how can I help you?
Right.
And that way, especially professionally, you can still be the team player.
Right. Right. Respectfully.
That's important. As per the last email.
Right.
She didn't help me. You want to avoid all that.
Right. Definitely.
Lord.
Are you having a flashback?
I know. I was like, I feel like you got some on your mind more.
Oh, me? Oh, yeah, because I'm still dealing with it.
Oh, Lord, child.
And I can't because it's my subordinate, so I can't ignore it.
Well, that's a different kind of a situation when it's a subordinate. You see me choosing my words.
Oh, gosh.
This is a live studio audience. All right. When you're dealing with a subordinate who is exhibiting all of the narcissistic, not just tendencies, but personality traits, because there's narcissistic tendencies, as we discussed last time, we all have them. And then there are the actual personality traits. Okay. And those are usually going to be exhibited pretty much at all times. So when you're communicating, because all of this comes down to communication with the subordinate who is narcissistic, we're going to, let's say, go the extreme route where this is the kind of narcissist that believes they know everything, they have everything, they're better than you, you're dumb, you have no idea what you're doing, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah.
And so you should actually be listening to them, and they want your job.
Yep.
Right? We'll go full scale, right? This is who they are. And how dare the world have placed them in a position to be subordinate to anyone?
Yep.
Okay.
That's how it be. Like on the spot, it'd be like,
right.
Okay. Again, I want to remind you, there's nothing wrong with these people. There's nothing wrong with these people. We have to remember that at some point in their development, they got the dysfunctional messaging that kept them in that state of mind. Okay? And so sometimes the best thing to do is to provide the message that actually is the one that would potentially work better. So, okay, narcissistic, subordinate, such and such. No, now is not a good time, right? And in this particular case, I need you to hear me and recognize what the position is. And I'll be more than happy to, as you work your way into your role, and as you show all of these wonderful skills that I'm sure you have, we can work on providing you with more opportunities to grow within the company or to grow within your position, to grow within whatever, as you continue displaying the wonderful qualities that you were hired for in the first place.
I love this.
Because we can always acknowledge that they were hired for a reason.
right.
Perhaps they're just a warm body that, you know, a dead body wouldn't suffice for, right? Maybe you just needed the body there. And I'm sure that they can be the best body that they can be, right? At the very least, they were hired for a purpose. Acknowledge those purposes that will serve the specific program, the specific project, the specific moment that you need them to serve, right? Now, please note that I am not suggesting that you outright do the ego stroking. That does not help your situation at all, right? Ego stroking does nothing but confirm and validate. But what you do need to do is remind them that one of the things that makes them awesome is that they are able to recognize opportunities for becoming even more awesome. Not using those words. Things that you're good at, one of them includes recognizing an opportunity to get good at something else. In this case, being a subordinate. Not necessarily in those words. Am I making sense?
Yeah, no, yeah, that makes a whole lot of sense. It's just really tough when you're in the situation and you're really trying.
Of course.
As we both know, as you know, like women, a person of color, like addressing the narcissistic Karen.
There's nothing wrong with these people.
Yes, they're just away from my sphere is what they need to do. It's all right. We're persevering. We're you know, hey, freedom fighters.
That's right.
Well, I'm about to be free of it. So you know,
I know that's right.
Keep doing it.
Speak on that. Speak on that. Speak it into existence.
Speak that into existence. Absolutely.
Yes.
Sometimes a freedom fighter got to fight for her team.
For real. More often than not.
Yeah, no, for real. Yeah.
Definitely.
Just, you know, try to eliminate the toxicity as much as I can. Yeah, but this is good. It's more like helpful to me. It may not be applicable in this situation. It might be past that point, but it's always good. Good reminders as as I continue on in this realm, and I'm sure more are going to come at some point. But
yeah,
I mean, listen, especially when we're dealing with the narcissistic Karen, technically speaking, she doesn't have to do anything but be a Karen and die too.
Right.
If she just so happened to choose to stop existing in your space by no longer working at that company, that's an option too.
Right, exactly. And that's kind of where I'm at. I'm like, okay, I can't make you do what I need you to do if you don't want to do it, but I can document and result and take action on your inaction. That's kind of where I'm at now. So anyway, I don't want to make it about me, but yeah, I know like there are a lot of people out here who deal with these.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. In that same sense, I kind of wanted to ask about the inverse, if you will, and how you would navigate a situation where you have someone who is a superior or like a senior, like they may not be your supervisor, but they might be someone who's in a position of substantial power and prestige and where you work or wherever you may do business. So how would you navigate that any differently than in the situation with the subordinate?
Linguistically, yes.
Yes.
But internally, no. Okay. So here's the thing, right?
Right.
Let me start off again. There's nothing wrong with these people. Can't say that enough, because as much as we acknowledge and recognize and so forth up until the moment where you're actually in the moment of dealing with them, and it's just like, what is wrong with you? Pull yourself in and be like, there's nothing wrong with you. Something happened to you. And so I now have to navigate so that I don't lose my damn mind or license or job or whatever your situation may be.
Right.
You asked specifically how I would handle it, which is why I said internally, it's not different. Linguistically, it's definitely very different because, and this is also because much younger, lesser knowledgeable Shae did not handle one of those situations very well at all. Specifically, the situation was, do you know what insubordination is? And my response was, do you know how to spell it? So my history in dealing with people, especially the narcissistic Karens of the world and narcissistic Chads, because
they are
Chads
there.
and Karens, okay? My history is not the most productive. So I can speak from experience, folks. Okay. Listen, I have a massive vocabulary. So for someone who can't even write a proper email to ask me if I know what a word means, yeah, it was a bad moment. It was a bad moment. She wasn't ready. But yeah. I'll take a sip to that.
No, please do.
So internally, the way I have dealt with it is definitely pretty much the same. But linguistically, we learn how to deal with things very differently. And so how we're supposed to deal with things when it comes to the narcissist who is above us. And again, you are not to do any of the ego stroking that they're actually looking for. Can't stress that enough, because all you're doing is creating more of what it is that you don't want. So when you're communicating with someone who is specifically a narcissistic personality who is actually in a position of power, you deal with that in silence.
Mm.
And try not to let your face be a teleprompter like mine is.
Yes.
Deal with it in silence.
That
because ultimately every person just wants to be heard, right? Ultimately.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
We all just want to be heard. So if the narcissistic personality is looking as any other person would be to be heard, at the very least, you give them the stage so that they can be heard on a basic level. That does not mean that you tolerate being berated, disrespected, or anything like that. It just means that you give them the opportunity to speak their piece. And once they're done, you manage the situation according to your particular station. So let's say, for example, we're talking, like you said, substantial power. So you are at not management level and this person is the CEO. Mm-hmm. This person comes to you and is talking at you as if you don't know nothing. Your response is not like a younger Shae where you respond, you don't know what my job is. Respond with the, I appreciate your input. I'll see how I can manage with that.
I appreciate your input.
That does not confirm whether or not they're correct. That does not diminish their station. That also does not diminish yours.
Mm-hmm.
All you're doing in that moment is confirming that you heard what they said and that you're going to act accordingly. It doesn't mean that you're going to act in accordance with what they said. It just means that you're going to act according to what you actually can do. Does that make sense?
Yes. I'm still laughing because I think young Moana is definitely friends with young Shae.
Yeah, young Shae was cool.
Except that we're probably
I like new Shae now.
There were probably some bombs in there when I said it.
Yeah, new
Shae. I had my coworkers used to listen to me because that was also another problem when I was younger. Is I had no problem putting my dissatisfaction in writing, and so they heard me doing this for too long. Shae, are you writing? Let me read that before you send it, okay? Yeah. I had a team of censors. Like, nah, we're not trying to get Shae fired here. Shae,
right? Yes,
you can't send
it is very important to have those people.
You can't send that. Yeah, that's when they would hit me with the. I appreciate the sentiment in this, but we're gonna see how you can manage better.
Right.
Yeah. So definitely you want to learn, if you don't have a team of censors, how to censor yourself. And the best way is to confirm that you heard, i.e., I appreciate your perspective. I appreciate what you said. I appreciate your message, right?
Right.
I appreciate input, right? Lead with gratitude. You can even throw in I hadn't thought about it that way, right? Make them feel like they're doing something. Because you're not exactly stroking an ego, but you are cushioning the gonna see what it is that I can do. That doesn't exactly confirm anything. That doesn't give them the satisfaction of I really won this conversation. If they're like super extra, cape wearing narcissist, then they'll assume that they're going to get their way and it'll liberate you forfeit, right? But if they're just basic level narcissist, they will know I did not win that argument, and it'll eat at them. But again, as with anything, this too shall pass. Also, feel free to check to hop in the inbox for all of the different ways that you can poke a narcissist in the eyeball. This too shall pass is a great one. You're not, you're upset. Oh, well, this too shall pass.
Right. Well, when the dude was like, it's above me now, like that was like one of my favorite moments on social media, because the context of it was just so like, yeah, like, nah, this is no longer my responsibility.
Yes.
Cool.
I feel like I need to have like a post-it note, like on the side of your monitor for like when the thing comes up and you flip it up and be like, this too shall pass, like the reminder, like the words that I need to say. I appreciate your input, reminder.
Right.
It could be a new product, Shae. Put on the side of the
This too shall pass. Nothing lasts forever.
Right.
I'm I'm sorry you feel that way. Now, I'm sorry you feel that way as a complete sentence and thought does a lot of things, right? I'm sorry you feel that way to, let's say, your narcissistic child person or the narcissistic adult person in your life says, huh? Right? It gives pause. Like, what do you mean you're sorry I feel that way?
Mm-hmm.
And if you just leave it at that, you're giving no input, you're giving no nothing. You're just acknowledging that they're having a feeling. Acknowledgement is important. Like I said, everybody just wants to feel heard. But you're also not feeding whatever it is that they're trying to get fed.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry you feel that way. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that I'm sorry I did anything, because again, you're saying I'm sorry.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm sorry you feel that way. Means you're having a feeling. Apparently it sucks. I acknowledge that sucks.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean you're changing anything. Doesn't mean you're doing anything. Doesn't really mean anything other than you're acknowledging that they're having a feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And that's whether they're throwing a tantrum on the floor or whether it's the adult person who is throwing the other tantrum of ways that we throw tantrums. I mean, just yesterday I threw a tantrum just by sitting my head on my hand and explaining to my coworker, just imagine me throwing myself on the floor right now. That's what I'm doing internally. And that's what I am. Because a tantrum was necessary, but I'm an adult, sadly. And so, messing up my blazer and my outfit and possibly my hair to throw a tantrum just is not in the to-do list for the day. So I'm gonna just put my head down and explain that I'm having a tantrum, right? But if the response is, I'm sorry you feel that way, you're not feeding into whatever energy it is that they're trying to get you to feed. And you're giving them an opportunity, of course, to continue to attempt.
Right.
But the likelihood is they're going to be completely ineffectual in that, because you've already acknowledged what they feel.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I want you to do something now. I'm sorry you feel that way too.
Yes.
Right.
Sorry you feel that way too. Because having a desire for someone to change something, and them not being willing to change it is also a sucky feeling. And you can acknowledge that too. You can just acknowledge feelings one after another. It's a wonderful way to deal with an narcissist. I am sorry. That is actually my favorite way to deal with a lot of things, not just narcissists, but I'm sorry you feel that way. It's a great way to go.
Yeah.
What about, I'm sorry you've convinced yourself you feel that way? Shae, I snuck in a joke.
That's a good one. So yes, as a therapist,
Bruce Wayne is a narcissist.
in my professional, in my practice, when people are saying, well, they made me feel, or such and such made me do, and I'm just like, again, you have choices, you have options, right? You don't have to do anything but be black and die, or you don't have to do anything when I'm talking to my paler complected clients. You don't have to do anything on this planet but pay taxes and die.
Right.
And sometimes not even that, right?
Right, for real.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about it.
So when you say someone made you do anything, what does that really mean? Really, that means that you allowed someone to cause you to change your mood. You gave someone the power to dictate how you feel. Tell me, what in that moment suggested that that was an okay way to go? Well, Shae, I know what you're saying, but they still made me. Did they really though?
Right.
Yeah.
So you're saying that someone else has control over your emotions?
Right.
Okay, so maybe you should bring them to the session next time, and I'll work the therapy with them. Shae, that's not cool. But you're saying they have the power to make you feel things. If they're the ones with the power to make you feel things, then I'm talking to the wrong person, or I'm listening to the wrong person.
Yes. Yeah, okay. I think that's the part that we got to remember too, right? It's like also controlling, like they made me do this. Did they really though? Like you got to compartment the thing. It's hard sometimes, like it takes practice to do that. But we do have to remember that like nobody can make us feel anything. Nope. It's our choice.
And so to JD's point, yeah, you convince yourself that you feel a certain way. You've convinced yourself that you're angry. Oh, let me throw this one in there just for the sake of the example. Have you ever been mad at someone or upset with someone, or seen someone mad at you, which is even more entertaining for me? You see someone else is upset, and so you deliberately do something to make them laugh. And then you get to watch them try with their absolute damnedest to not laugh.
Yes.
Because they've convinced themselves that they must be angry in this moment.
Yes.
Right? I love it. It's one of my favorite things to do because now they're upset that I just told them that they're the ones who are in control. And I'm just like, does that control now too? Shae, you stupid. I'm just saying, you actually tell you what you're thinking. Like, shouldn't I get the remote control for your feelings too? But no, it's so important that we actually acknowledge that yes, we convince ourselves that we think something based on what someone else, the energy that someone else is giving us, instead of recognizing that we have the power to choose. When your narcissist is in your atmosphere and changing your vibe with their vibe, you are feeding their ego.
Right.
Congratulations. You're supporting another narcissist.
It just makes me think of when like I see some families and like if a kid falls or something happens and it's like they think it's not that big a deal, they'll be like, nobody react, like don't take it serious because the baby will start crying, if you like run over, they're like, no, you all right.
Like kid has to be gushing blood for anybody to be allowed to react.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Sips tea. Oh gosh. Oh my God. Okay, so do we have any other questions from the audience? I feel like we have time for maybe one more.
No, JD just likes trying to give me extra hard stuff.
Yeah.
To think about.
Yeah.
Oh my.
Every episode he gets just like the one moment where I can't help myself but actually react. All right, I see you. Good job. We tried to get me with the Batman one, but it's okay.
Do you like Batman or something?
Me?
Yeah.
From a childhood perspective, Batman is cool. right?
Okay.
From a childhood perspective, Batman is cool. From an adulthood, from a Black person, I've been watching this my whole life, and now I'm like, why? Perspective. On the inside, I call him white privilege man.
Yes. That's fair. That's fair. So would you say that he's correct in his diagnosis of Bruce Wayne?
No, actually, Batman by diagnostics, in terms of diagnostic, is actually has a dissociative personality disorder.
Can you explain the nuance?
Yeah, like.
Okay, sorry. It's just so far off topic that I didn't think should go any further. But dissociative personality disorder is the classic multiple personality disorder. Does that help?
Okay. Okay, gotcha.
You know, because in his head he calls himself Batman.
Right. Yeah.
And then if you think about all of the different things that he does in terms of how it is that he handled his grief, which was to completely just be like, I'm going to bury myself in this whole situation of finding the criminal who killed my parents. And then, you know, I'm going to damage these other children with similar histories as mine, and turn them into sidekicks and not actually pay attention to the fact that they are getting damaged more so because, considering I had Alfred and money, these kids have my broken ass.
And in some cases they died. It's
so
crazy.
White privilege man.
Yeah.
But you know what? I respect all superheroes. My inner nerd is telling me that I have to remind the folks superheroes are important, even Booster Gold and his useless ass, because they do the job. Somebody's got to put the cape on and do the job. That's so I respect all the heroes, even Superman and Batman, and just for the sake of it, I'm going to plug the fact that I'm a Marvel girl. But
yeah, that's fair.
My least favorite heroes are all on PC. Don't like her.
That makes sense. So who's your favorite?
My favorite superhero?
Yeah.
Goodness gracious, depends on the day. If we go from my childhood, I mean, gotta go with the quintessential representation matters vote, and that is, of course, Storm.
Yes.
Right. Very right. Want to jump up and down right now.
Right? Black girls everywhere back in the 80s and 90s, we had the one to look at.
Yes.
Facts. And she was OP too.
Right.
Mm-hmm. I know that's right. What do you say?
That's not a disorder.
A fashion choice.
Right. That's a lifestyle. That's I don't know what's between
that's their version of being transparent. How about that?
Yeah. I really enjoyed this, I must say.
I want to make the plug or make the statement when it comes to narcissism, one of the biggest and most important things to recognize, at least from my perspective, not necessarily just as a mental health professional, but just as a human being, aside from, you know, the part where I always have to pause and rewind my daggone self and remind myself that there's nothing wrong with these people. Aside from that part, I want to remind you that ultimately, when it comes down to it, we are all just people trying to cope with things however it is that we are able. And it's really important to recognize that, because you never know when, where, how, why, the moment you are interacting with another human being, whether they're a narcissist or not, if that is the moment that you are affecting the other human being in a way that supports a false narrative. So, you know, my own personal plug, make sure you're 50%, hashtag, the 50%. Make sure your 50% of that interaction is a positive one. I can't help but reinforce that over and over again. And notice the language that I use when I'm saying how to deal with a narcissist is not like what younger Shae was usually on the defensive and on the attack. Okay. Don't be a young Shae, right? Be entertained by young Shae, but don't be a young Shae. Learn the lesson that it is better to make your side of the interaction a positive one than to feed the negativity.
Absolutely.
That's
So
real.
even if that means that you validate without being overly supportive, then do that. You know, let the white privileged men of the world, or Karens and Chads, let them have whatever it is that they need to have, knowing that ultimately it does not have to change anything for you unless you let it. You can choose to have a good day, even when narcissistic Karen is doing her damnedest to fuck up your day.
Yes. That's a good way to put it.
Mm-hmm.
I said, that's a good way to put it.
For real.
She gonna try.
Yes. It's in the nature. It's in the nature.
That's
Right.
her thing. But it's your job to make sure that you have a good day regardless.
Yeah, that's true.
If you can't think about it from my perspective in terms of making your 50% positive so that that person isn't damaged, make your 50% positive so that you aren't damaged.
Yes.
For real.
And get therapy, because today's always a good day for therapy.
That's right. Every day's good for therapy. Thank you, Shae, for what you do. Because a lot of us out here, apparently, who need it.
Very much so.
Yeah, no, seriously, though, these conversations definitely have helped me navigate my own life and that, all the people that I come into contact with. And at the end of the day, it's really just helping us, just get through it, like this. I mean, if you're alive, you got a pulse, you're going to interact with some people. And some of them ain't going to be the ones that you want to.
Right.
But you got to. And, it's all about keeping yourself in the good mental state, I think is what you're saying. So,
Yeah.
Yeah. I can say that, like over the past couple months, it's definitely been a growing opportunity for me personally, and even people on my team. They're like, "Oh, I always, I can see how you've grown from this." Like, I mean, my initial reactions were like not great, obviously, but just talking like this and doing my own what I don't know, soul searching, whatever, reflection, and really trying to focus on the things that I can control. I think that's helped me. So if you all are watching, I hope it's been helpful to you, or maybe if you're not dealing with it right now, but hopefully it'll help you because you're going to come into contact with someone someday. And I just I really appreciate Shae's value. Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
There's a lot of them out there.
Sheesh.
Also, just since we're here, and I think, do we have extra minutes here?
Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. A couple minutes.
There's no such thing as thought police. Not yet, anyway. Luckily, nobody can read your mind.
Right.
So I strongly encourage allowing yourself in those moments to have that inner dialogue. Not for too long now. Don't just sit there the whole time staring and having the dialogue, because eventually that dialogue is going to be on your forehead. But in that moment, if you want to think or imagine, an anvil dropping on narcissistic Karen's head, you have permission for that. You want to imagine yourself saying, "I hope you stub your toe on the corner of your bed today." But you don't say it out loud, you just imagine it. Do that. Because to me, that makes me laugh internally and a little bit externally. Because I just imagine, first of all, I imagine myself saying it. I imagine the pause that they're going to have when they're just like, the hell kind of, who wishes that on somebody, right? I imagine that being the reaction, and then I imagine it actually happening later. And I'm like, yeah, I did that. And then I feel laugh at myself. So I get lots of different opportunities, different levels of moments to laugh. And laughter, of course, is the best medicine.
Facts.
So,
Yes.
yep. There's no such thing as thought police. So think through some of your emotions and enjoy those private moments.
And walk away if necessary.
Right. I love that. Wish the worst for you and only you.
Don't let it hit you as you go.
Right, for real.
Awesome.
I've actually in my day job this week, I've had several different opportunities to have the song in my head playing, which is why it came up so easily, of I Bet You Think This Song Is About You, but not the original Carly Simon version. The actual, the Janet Jackson kind of reboot,
yeah, I love that
where she's like, it's about you. It's about you.
Right. Actually.
Right.
And then she got Carly Simon on the track too.
Yeah, she got actual Carly Simon on the track, but the part where she got Carly Simon going, I bet you think this song is, and then you hear Janet laughing. Like, yeah, love that whole song. So I've had that song playing on repeat in my head on several different occasions because I've gotten to deal with quite a few. Because children and sick people are narcissists. Because apparently, although you are in a hospital full of other sick people, somehow you think that you're the only one here who is going through some shit. You're in a hospital, one of the largest hospitals in the freaking nation. You were flown in here from wherever the heck, podunk, tiny hospital, because this one is bigger and supposedly has more resources, and you are upset that the nurse, who has 60 other people on the floor to deal with, didn't get to you on time with your fucking boost. I bet you this song. And then I come up with I'm sorry you feel that way.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Followed by, and as a matter of fact, I'm also really sorry that you experienced that.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's dealing with narcissists has been a thing, or people with narcissistic tendencies this week has been a thing, because most of these people, like I said, they're sick, so they're not actually narcissists. They're just displaying their narcissistic tendencies, like a lot.
Yeah. That's real.
Yeah. So if you get sick and go to the hospital, don't be a narcissist. Hear yourself thinking and feeling those narcissistic thoughts, and then remember, the song is not about you.
Yes. I have thoughts about that, but I'm no, I was just gonna say I have thoughts about that, but that's gonna be a whole other show. Because we're talking about our healthcare system, and don't get me started. Yeah.
Girl, I got stories.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Lord. I think we'll leave it there for this week.
Shout out to the doctors out there.
Yes.
The good ones. Shout out to the doctors.
Yeah.
And the nurses.
Yes.
And my fellow social workers and my fellow case management crew and all of the healthcare workers out there who have to deal with the narcissistic folks, some of whom are also other doctors and nurses.
Right. Yes, bless your hearts.
Yes.
Because they be dealing with all kinds of people every single day. Yes. Alrighty, y'all. Well, I will say thank you so much as we end our mental health Mental Health Month, this is a great topic that to explore. And we want to thank Shae again for her expertise, her wise, sage advice and guidance that she has been hard-earned, both through education and real life experience.
I can definitely spell insubordination.
Yes.
Yeah.
We don't want to do that too much. But yeah, so we'll close for tonight. Thank you, Cece, for jumping on and being part of our co-host and crew for tonight's topic. We appreciate you. And come back at 8:30. We're going to be talking about the movie Disney's Turning Red tonight. And we have a great panel to join us. I think the last one we did was Encanto.
Ooh.
So
Nice.
I'm excited to listen and hear what folks are saying about Turning Red. I have not watched it yet. I know I need to. I remember there being a whole lot of discussion about it. So
I might make that my watch for the night.
yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. Like, okay, put on my watch. Disney Plus.
Yeah, I think you would enjoy it. I would love to get your perspectives on it. I would actually love to get both of your perspectives on it.
Yeah, definitely.
Mhm.
And I'll just make a quick plug. So our Kickstarter for The Adventures of Nakoa and Nohea official activity and coloring book. It is a series that I write and publish. Is on Kickstarter. Let me drop the link real quick. Tomorrow, we're in the last 24 hours now.
Nice.
And we just hit our goal, but we could definitely use more support. Yay!
Yes, Moana. Kickstarter queen up in here.
Yes, all of the funds that we raise through the Kickstarter helps us to keep developing the series and get a head start. Like anything that we raise beyond the goal is going to go towards book 3 after Shadows of the Ancient. Ryan and I are already in early concepts and getting really excited about what we're going to do with 3. It's going to be a lot of fun. Not your typical children's book series. There's a little bit of superhero flair, kind of, but not in the capes way.
Nice.
But yeah, so if you guys haven't checked it out, please do.
Heck yeah.
And we'll end it there. So CCI and I can jump over to the next one. So hope everybody's doing well. Have a great week. Tomorrow is Friday. One more day. We can do it. And hopefully you have a 3-day weekend for Memorial Day coming up. Enjoy some downtime with your family, quality time. However, do the things that you love to do, whatever that might be, because that's really important to your mental health too. So
Self-care.
Yes, self-care is the best care. Alrighty, guys, thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
So many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can't keep history on the shelf. If they won't tell it, we will.
If this the land of the free, was a freedom then. When they annexed Hawaii and called it Cedar Lands, without any type of payment and no signing off. Called themselves the Republic in 1894. 1.2 million acres overtaken from the native Hawaiians. When they resisted, the West retaliated in violence and erasure. The Hawaiian language is banned as part of colonialism's plan to expand,
Stuck between a rock and a hard place. Multiple bombings of Kaho'olawe as a part of their ongoing war with Asia. Used it as a place for target practice. No consent or compensation. Colonizers call for annexation. No regard for all the locals. School will never let you know. So many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can't keep history on the shelf. If we won't tell it, we will. Too many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can't keep history on the shelf. If we won't tell it, we will. We will.
So if we put Hawaii into perspective, well, Black and Asian history is interconnected. Considering the fight with the Pacific, then and of course versus Asia, they was treated as a middleman for war, but didn't let the Western colorism run its course, cause dark skin was a sign of dignity to core. The land was taken in the name of capitalism, when prior to it was an actual kingdom. Clap back at the system.
Stuck between a rock and a hard place, multiple bombings of Koholave. As a part of their ongoing war with Asia, used it as a place for target practice. No consent or compensation, colonizers call for annexation. Network out for all the locals, school will never let you know. So many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can't keep history on the shelf, if we won't tell it we will. Too many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can't keep history on the shelf, if we won't tell it we will. So many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can't keep history on the shelf, if we won't tell it we will. Too many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can't keep history on the shelf, if we won't tell it we will. We will.
I'm Steve Bloom. I've been a voice actor for more than 30 years, playing characters like Wolverine, Starscream, Tank Dempsey from Call of Duty.
With Bloomfox Studios, I've learned so much about myself.
Learning to breathe, to no fear, to getting ugly in front of the mic.
One of the biggest changes I've noticed, at least for me, is how much my confidence level has gone up.
Done an Eastern European video game, an e-commerce commercial, a documentary. If you're thinking about getting into voiceover, just do it. Jump in.